Hi friends, today I am playing with this brand new set of the Paul Rubens. This is their Pearlescent watercolor paint set. There's 24 pans, and as you know, I'm a fan of Paul Rubens. I've been a fan of theirs for decades. I have lots of their small little tins. I have just lots of their paint sets that I have bought over the decade, really. And one of the things I love, I can't say enough about, this is just a personal thing with me. I love a company that really thinks about the aesthetics, because I'm all about the aesthetics. And I think they put so much thought into that, which just to me says a lot about the company. So as usual, you know, they've got their pink box here, which kind of has a little bit of shine to it. And when you open it up, they have their signature, this little soft cotton, reminds me kind of a chamois. These are just little things that may not mean anything to you, but I love this. It makes me feel indulgent. It makes me feel like I'm getting some real quality. And if you were to gift this little set, I think whoever was the recipient would be so excited. So it's got that cloth on it, as always. Their pink box, which isn't always their what their paints come in, but I have a lot of their pink boxes. They have a new Yulan series, and you can get that in this like leopard look. Let me see if I have it here. Which, of course, I chose the pink. But it also comes in like more of a brown and gold, which is really beautiful. I thought that was cool. So when you open the box, the tin here, they give you your swatch sheet, which is pretty standard. I didn't do my swatches on this. I usually do. Instead, I did it on this painter's color diary, which I've been using lately, because I wanted to put all the information down. So I did it on there, and you can see here that beautiful shine. It does, I will tell you, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute. I found the Paul Rubens is a little bit more like of an opaqueness to it. Which isn't bad or good. It's just, you know, kind of what you like. I've got those MABs that I use a lot, and I feel they're a little bit more translucent, but that's, again, that's not good, that's not bad. These feel a little bit more, the word might be like lustrous, and definitely a little bit more opaque. So they show up. I think these would be just perfect on white or black paper. They show up really well, so that's kind of a plus. You get, you know, their little signature card. Now, what's interesting is the pearlescents aren't listed on here, but they're all of their other colors and such. It doesn't have the pigment information, so I look that up typically to write that on my paints. You open it up, it's got, everything's metal in here. The middle palette that actually holds the paints is removable, and I just stuck my hand in one of those paints. Look at how vibrant that is, by the way. Pretty cool. So you've got those 24 paints in here, going all the way from white, going through kind of your warm colors. They've got a couple different gold, bronze, some of those pinks. Of course, that bright pink that I absolutely love. I think they refer to that one. Interestingly, I think they call it crepe myrtle, which I thought was kind of fun. There's that rose red that I absolutely love, that coincidentally is in their sister company palette, MeiLiang. That's one of my favorite colors. And then moving into kind of some of the more cool biased colors. So you've got your blues, they call this. I kind of love the names that they use. They've got a name like Symphony Blue and Shiny Blue and Fruit Green, kind of fun colors. Just, I think those type of things are fun. Wine Red, I think, was this one. So there you go. what else do I want to share with this? I'm going to do a little painting, and I'll show you. Equally, I feel like these do well on black or white paper. They shine up really well. Like I said, I feel they're very, my experience with them was they were very, a lot more opaque. Although I did put it over. So this side is just the swatch itself. And this larger side is where I laid down a glaze and let it dry of a similar color, and then applied the Paul Rubens Pearlescent color over it. And, you know, I really found that it looked very pretty over it, but it was more, it was definitely more opaque, which is not bad. Here are some paintings. Look at how beautiful and really vibrant that is. I did this last night, and actually what you might notice here is I used my filbert brush. This is my brush, hopefully coming out this month, and I double dipped it. So one side I put blue and one side I put this beautiful purple. I really, really am loving, I think out of this whole palette, look at these beautiful turquoises and purples. They're gorgeous. So I used some purple and some of that blue. I think it's called the Symphony Blue. And then some of that rose red. And this is their green. I really do love their colors. This was, I think that was the fruit green. And look at how beautiful. I did this one here too. This was using more of the pinks in here. So they're flare red. They have one called flare red, pink red, and then again that fruit green. And look at how beautiful. So what I wanted to do was maybe just to show you how they look on white paper, because to be very honest, I don't know if I'd really, I know a lot of you do paint on black paper. It kind of reminds me, I'm aging myself here. Remember the black velvet paintings? That's what this reminds me of. But it is really vibrant and beautiful. So well done there, Paul Rubens. I think it's fantastic. I wanted to share this little swatch with you too. So this is what I mean. I hope you can catch that on the camera here. These are the Paul Rubens, these two rows, not these, those are Lissalinka, but these here are the Paul Rubens. And you can see here what I mean. They're a little bit more opaque. These just happen to be, I put on here the Ocean Series MAB watercolors, and they're a little bit more transparent, I felt. Again, that's just a preference thing. One thing I do think is really cool about this is if you just want to carry all of your metallics together in one palette versus, you know, I have a lot of these MABs, and they're all separate. So, you know, I have to carry several of them with me. Again, not good or bad, just different. And this is really handy because you can pack this one case, this one tin, and you have them all with you, and you have all the colors. So I think that's pretty cool for just ease of travel, ease of being able to take with you. So let's go ahead and use them a little bit on a piece of white paper. So we've got this here, which again is absolutely, I mean, I just love that. I love how beautiful those turned out. They're almost like a light bright, like neon glowing. It was really fun to paint with. But let me grab a white sheet of paper here. Let's see. My papers are flying everywhere because it's hot today and I have my fan on. So, and actually, you know what I'll do is I'll come back to this and maybe we'll apply a little glaze on this. I'm sharing this in a couple days and see how that works. So let me find, this is, by the way, those Artisto pads, you know I love. And let's just paint on here something similar to this. Matter of fact, I'm going to use the same colors as here so you can kind of see the comparison on the black paper and the white paper. Okay, so just getting my brush wet here. I've got my little wash and rinse cups all nice and clean. And I'm not even going to use my palette here, my mixing palette, because I don't want to muddy up the colors. I want them to be really pure. So I will just use them directly out of the palette here. One little tip too is when you're using metallics, what I have found is I have to pre-wet, for sure pre-wet them, because sometimes I can go into paints and if I forgot to spray them ahead of time, you know, I can go in with a wet brush and they're pretty good to go. I have noticed with metallics, because you know my obsession with them, is typically what I am finding, except for this Linka, those you can wet and they're immediately ready to go. I'm not sure what that combination of materials is that makes it a little bit different, but most metallics or sparkly paints, they're pretty hard. They dry pretty firm. They do get wet pretty quickly, the Paul Rubens. So it's not a bad thing, again, just things I'm noticing. Those wouldn't even be things that would keep me from buying a paint or a pigment at all. It's just things I'm noticing. So let's go ahead and I'm going to, again, try and do something very similar to this so we can see the difference. So I've got my filbert brush. I wet it. I'm just tapping it off. And then I'm going to go into my blue and my purple. So dipping, this is called double loading. I love double loading. I think it's gorgeous and so fun to work with. So I'm going to dip one side of my brush, flip my brush over, dip the other side in there. And now, I don't know if you can see that, but I've got purple and red on there. Isn't that gorgeous? And then let's just start painting. Again, I'm going to try and do as close as I can to what I created on this other sheet. I'm noticing I have a little bit more blue here than the other one, which is fine. Let me try and grab some more of that purple. And it's so hot here, guys, that this is drying really quickly. Something to keep in mind, because I'm always trying to give you guys tips on, you know, how wet to get your brush. Now it's really dry here. I've got a fan going, so things are drying rather quickly. What's so fun about this filbert brush is practice some brush strokes. Practice doing the side of your brush, like for these fat strokes. And then I'm just automatically, I'm resting my hand here and I'm just kind of using the side of my brush for some of these smaller strokes. And then I'm pushing down and widening out that belly for some of the other strokes like that. So play with that technique because I think it's really fun. So there, I spread it out. You can use your brush on this side or straight on and more pressure. Do what's kind of fun for you. And don't you love this, this look with the purples and that blue? I think it's so much fun, you guys. Here we go. So I'm doing one thick petal here and there, and then I'm just going around. I'm making sure the tips of all of those leaves, petals, go to one center point. That's kind of important. So they're all leading into the center here. Let's do one up here. So I'm turning and twisting my brush, and that's something, you know, just play with that on your own, on a piece of paper, and get used to those different brush strokes. As I'm going in here, and it's drying a lot quicker than normal, I can go in and just add some layers with the purple, with the blue. Again, I'm just playing and twisting my brush back and forth. Let's do one more here. You can even add maybe some background, little fluffies coming out there. Feel free to play with that. Really let your imagination kind of go here. And this is where that evening practice can be really valuable and fun, because playing with those different brush strokes. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and wash my brush, rinse my brush, tap it off, and now let's go into our green. And you can even do I didn't do this last night, but you could double load that as well. You know, play. And now let's start creating, so you can really see that more olivey green. And here's where I talk about this a lot. Envision these as colors, as shapes. Like, where do I need some pop? Where do I feel like I need color? Versus, oh, this is a leaf, it should be coming out of here in kind of a more analytical approach. This is what works for me, is just kind of, where do I feel like I need to place a little bit of color? That always has worked for me really well, versus trying to do something perfect. It's like, I feel like I need a little of this color there. And I'm using the same brush strokes, really. I'm doing dabs, I'm turning my brush. So let's come out here, applying more pressure in some of these areas. And there we go. Look at how beautiful. Now we could go in and maybe just add a little bit down here. So I'm gonna double dip that. And just add in some of that. Just again, we're just playing here. Doing some dabs, and I'm really following my intuition here. Like, where do I feel like I need a little bit of that color? That's really how I paint all the time, because it just works for me. If I try to imagine every petal and where exactly it should be, it really messes me up, and that doesn't work for me. I can't paint in that way. Now you may be able to, and that's gonna be how you're working with how your brain works, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit more. Now I've moved back on my brush too, if you notice, and I'm actually not even resting my hand, because I want some of these brush strokes I'm gonna apply now to be a little bit darker, and just kind of dabbing and moving around my painting. We don't want to overwork it, but just playing. I mean, I'm basically done. And look at how beautiful those are. Let me hold that up and look at that shimmer. So this paint, this Paul Rubens, because this is my opinion, it is more opaque. It does beautiful. It does beautiful on the white paper. It does beautiful, of course, on the black paper. It does show up even more. It almost looks like it's illuminated to me. But look how beautiful on here too. And, you know, if I had this out in the sun, you would definitely see those sparkles. So there you go. I hope this was helpful for you. You know, it's so helpful. I learned so much by doing these swatches of my paints. I did just recently buy this, it's called Painter's Color Diary. I had it sitting in my studio for probably a year with just a couple swatches, and I recently grabbed it. On the back, these are all of these paints, all these Paul Rubens paints come individually wrapped in these little wrappers, and they have the color number on here, and I just put them on the back, and then I went ahead and swatched them out. But it told me right off the bat, these are more opaque. This is what they look like by themselves, and with a yellow underneath it. So I like doing that. I will tell you the MABs were a little bit more granulating. That's just what I found. Again, not good or bad. If you like your paints to granulate, the MABs seem to granulate a little bit more. Again, these were much smoother. They were a little bit richer, meaning that more opaqueness and a little bit more vibrant. But I use my MABs with other paints and I use them as a glaze over. So again, no good or bad, just different. I do love that you could give this as a gift and somebody would be like, wow, I'm professional. I feel really great. Also, if you want to indulge yourself, I think it's a beautiful palette. They have chosen the colors really nicely. They even have this, let me find my swatch here. I really loved their blues, number one. That deep intergreen and the fruit green, to die for, guys. I love these two colors. Their blues, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love them. I can't say enough about them. And then they had this silver black, which was decent, but they have this flash purple that's really fun, and I liked that. So I think, well done, Paul Rubens. You did really great on your color choices. It gives, if you were just going to carry one palette for your metallics, I think this covers them all really, really well. And I'm impressed. Again, I love Paul Rubens. I think what I've shared today is just really kind of, you know, personal opinion and what you like. They're opaque, they're beautiful, their colors are really all very, very unique. They look great on black and white paper. I feel they're perfect for gift giving. They're convenient that you could just pack them up and bring one palette. The price point, I will tell you, is about, I believe right now, Prime Days are coming up, by the way, guys, in July. They're about $50. So there you go. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you give them a try. I will put their link down below, and I'll also link my brushes if you want to take a peek at those. It's going to be a set of 5, and look at the color, guys. So pretty, right? And happy painting. All right, I will see you soon. Thanks for being here in our little community. You guys are, I'm not kidding, the best. I love reading your comments. I feel like we're all friends, and let's just keep having fun. All right, happy painting.